Alright, it's Hump Day, Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023, and let's talk about the markets here at precisealgorithmtrading.com. Um, this is the S&P 500. I'm going to make this short and sweet, I hope. So, we've had some pullbacks going on now. This is the pullback that happened a week or so ago, and then it got ripped back to the upside. Didn't make it all the way back up. Rolled over right in this zone right here. This is the hourly chart on the right hand side, by the way. And we've fallen pretty hard since then. And I'm going to zoom in here. That is a pretty large negative bearish candle. So we had a big negative bearish candle that day too, that got reversed but then rolled over. So, but you can see like bearish candles typically, lately anyway, haven't been this big. And so the reason I call that out is because when they do get big, they tend to follow through, like this. Back here, they follow through. This one followed through, but it jockeyed around before it rolled back up. So, um, these targets are actually based off of some math, and it's been too long, but since I built those, but it's either standard deviation or average true range, or just I think it might be uh, trying to make a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, that type of thing. So, and it's kind of wild how they do get hit. So, like literally on these when they showed up as targets, right here in the middle here, um, it didn't get hit until it pulled up and then pulled back. The first one got hit, but then this second one got hit literally on what I would almost call an exhaustion move. And then this is just a fake out right here. So, but if you go on these charts, I mean, hindsight's 2020, of course. And when you're going down like this, these did not get hit to the downside, but we were in a pretty strong bullish move at that point. Um, so, anyways, there's a lot of clues. What's this mean? We are down into some potential support areas. That over here on the hourly chart, I mean, we are almost oversold on the True Momo indicator, which is really what we use it for. And then these RSI zones down here in the bottom, we're pretty oversold there as well. Now on the daily chart here, it doesn't look finished to me. Um, and yeah, so and then over here on the weekly, this is literally the 8-period moving average is what that line, that little pink line is, which I've heard it called the T line just because a lot of traders use it. I'm not sure, it's probably got other names too, but the 8-period moving average, you can see it actually holds price pretty well. And this one here, the purple line, is a magical moving average. No, not really. It's a 15-period moving average, and you can see actually that the 15-period really holds well. So even when you get breached, it won't probably. We might get some thrashing around here just because we're at the 15. As weird as that sounds, look what it did back here when it hit the 15. Look what it did back here. It just chopped around the 15. Even on the downside, when it gets to the 15, it chopped around and then continued lower on a down move, a bearish move. Same thing over here. On this bullish push up. I mean, it holds the 15. The 15 is pretty neat. So, it's not the be all end all unless somebody's got a great way to play that I'm unaware of. I use it as a kind of barometer where we're at. Now, the fact of the matter is we did breach it and close below it today. So even if we come back up to it and thrash around, I'm expecting us to get lower within the next few, I'm going to say, week or two. We also have a dark blue bar finally on the TrueMomo indicator on the weekly indicator. So, where do I think the price could stop? One standard deviation lower is that line right there. That's one standard deviation into next week, which makes a ton of sense. And these target dots, we could hit the first one and not the second one, or we could hit in between them, or we could even go all the way to the second one, and then you start getting these other moving averages coming in, which I think would be a great place to watch for a bounce in price. That's the S&P. Here's the Dow. The Dow is still green by a ton of measures. We do have a dark blue bar here on the TrueMomo indicator on the daily. Red, obviously, over here, and still pretty green on the weekly. So, and for what it's worth, the slope on the daily and the weekly is not too vertical, at least in my opinion. We're kind of going up. I don't know, what 45-degree angle is probably a good, maybe a little higher than that, which, on actual price, but it doesn't look quite as vertical as, let's say, what Apple looked like back here. It's been going just straight up, or really what it looks like on the weekly chart over here, for that matter. And then the transports, sort of same kind of thing, selling off. They're red here, they're red, they're still green here, they're red in price, and we got three dark blue bars in a row down here. And this is really just, it needs to kind of pull back and pause and take a breath. The uptrend can stay, for all of these, intact for quite a long time without taking out. Basically, all we don't need is lower highs and lower lows. And if we start getting too many of those, then this thing's going to reverse. And let's look at the Russell, which is already at the purple line. And yeah, so same kind of thing. I mean, this one's a new trend on the weekly over here. So this thing could get some legs, and that is a 52-week price up there, 52-week high. And then the NASDAQ. Obviously, the Russell was holding up better than the NASDAQ and the S&P. That's actually, I think, a pretty good sign. We're not quite completely oversold. It doesn't look like on the hourly chart over here. And then let's look at oil, because I'm going to flip it over to the futures contract, which is going to give me technology fits. I was really hoping it wouldn't. Slow performance. Alright, so we kind of got this big move down that I was talking about in the last few days. We got to close above the gold Harvard line for the month, and now we're retesting the Harvard line. It really doesn't matter until we get a close below this light blue line. So what I'm going to be looking for is a bounce, and I can see it off of the hourly and the daily, because you can see that the weekly is already set up for basically, it could be a continuation pretty easily. I mean, that first move higher right there looks an awful lot like that first move higher right there, and this one got the second wave. Well, I'm looking for another wave and trying to figure out how to get into it and stay into it, among a number of things that will pertain to oil. So, not saying this thing's going to have legs for a long time, but it's the best indication that I've found for a long-term trade. And I think that might be it. TLT for bonds, I think they just fell apart. That looks like possibly a capitulation move at 2 standard deviations. It's well below the Bollinger Bands, which is what this pink squiggly line is. Which you could play a quick trade up back to the mean if you wanted to, but that's a counter trend trade and it's full of risk. Alright, now I'll flip over to stockcharts.com. Let's buzz through this. Bullish percent indexes. Excuse me. Industrials didn't move. The NYA down by 2.39%. Transports didn't move, but we are sitting at 95, so this is really interesting to me because it was down at 95 before and then it just crushed it back to the upside. The NASDAQ down by 2.39%. For fun, let's look at the gold miners. Down by 9%. I think I had to kill one of my gold miners trades. The SPX down by 1.31%. The OEX down by 2.78%. And the NDX tacked on a new red X today. And that's an 8 because it's the beginning of the new month. Minus 8%. So that is a pretty strong move to the downside. And then finally, our automatic trading systems. I'm only throwing up the shorter term charts, but you can see we got a little jockeying around. Oops, right there. And I went ahead and grabbed these screenshots of the trades. So a lot of red lately, but we are starting to see some winning trades come back in, which is what we need. That's where it needs to get to. This one had another probably bad trade there, and I'll point it out over here on the charts. We've had a lot of back and forth here. We had a nice good trade there on the 17th, but since then we've had some pretty good sell-offs. So today we had or I guess that's yesterday, 8-1, that minus $2,800. So yeah, you take the good with the bad for a while. There's another nice one a month ago or whatever, 2 months. So yeah, we just need to get it going again. So then here's the NASDAQ, and that's been the latest move after we got a nice move up. We've gotten a ugly move back down, and again, this is a lot of back and forth. We're starting to see some winning trades. Actually, this whole series was mostly winning. Here lately we've had all losing, and some pretty big ones, really. 3,500 and 3,700 are about as big as they get normally. This is also, I can't do this actively because I don't have the TradeStation actually open, but you can actually go find the biggest loser and the biggest winner and trends and some other things inside a TradeStation right in that window right there. So just if you want to do deep dive analysis, they have that. It's pretty cool. And with that, I'm going to leave you guys for tonight. Have a great night and good luck trading tomorrow.